Hello guys, welcome to KWABENA TV. This is Black Arena. We've been discussing Black Lives Matter, the protest that has been going on for some time now. We've discussed the issues, the realities of racism and the seeming struggles of Black people across the world. But that is not to say that others are not making it. People have made it to the top all over the world. And today we focus on student leadership, Black students who have made it irrespective of the difficulties they had to face. This is going to motivate you to also want to be at the top. Don't forget you can join this discussion on all social media platforms. It's KWABENA TV. Let's meet our panel now. All right, guys, welcome back. And I have my panel ready to shoot. I have, you've already met my panel, but let me also introduce to you again, Emmanuel. Hi, Emmanuel.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Sharif.
Hello, Catherine.
Hi, Aram.
Hi, Catherine.
Welcome, guys, to Black Arena.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so today we're talking about our success stories, and you guys are a good example to start with. Student leaders in the face of all these hostile, in the face of all these hostility and aggression from colleagues and peers at the university campuses. I will start with Sharif, because I know that Sharif is the immediate past student union president of Sheffield Hallam University, after you also served as an education officer in the same office. Tell us, Sharif, how was the situation when you came into office? Were you a pace setter? Were you the first Black officer to be in that position?
First of all, I just want to say thank you for inviting me to be a part of this panel. And yeah, I think it's a big journey. And when I came, there was rare Black people in the student union as officers. At that time, there was no Black officers among the full-time sabbatical officers, but for part-time officers, there were a few Black people, but sometimes we need that motivation when we see people that relate like us or that think like us. So when I go to the student union and I couldn't find people that think like me, and when I talk to people, I see that they didn't understand what I was trying to say. So it was a bit difficult. So as at that time, there was so much challenges in terms of Black representation in the student union. Yeah.
Okay. And Aram, yes, can you tell us, Aram, how the situation was at your university before you came into the scene?
Okay, I think for me, when before I came into the scene, there were a couple of Black sabbatical officers, and honestly, my predecessor was also from Ghana, so it wasn't a totally strange environment, because you did have a couple of Black people in, and knowing somebody from Ghana who's also in the role, it was also an encouragement for me that, you know, this is something that I could also do. Yeah.
Very well. Emmanuel, how different was your scenario?
Right, Catherine, thank you for having me. Not really different, especially very alike to Aram's experience. Before coming into my role, I've had a couple of Black people in several sabbatical officer positions over the years, especially because we have quite a very rich, diverse campus. So there's been a couple of black officers from several African countries, not just Nigeria or Ghana in the past. So it was very easy for me to fit in and relate.
Thank you very much, guys. But Sharif, how did your campaign go? I mean, getting your message across, getting to be accepted by everybody, because it was not only the black students who were going to vote for you. You needed votes from across the platform to be able to make it to that office. How was it for you getting up there?
Yeah, I think it is imperative to say when I started doing the campaign, I was running for a voluntary role as a result of challenges that I faced personally. And that's the motivation, the basic reason why I ran for international student officer that year. And it was really difficult. But what helped me most was the fact that the person who was leaving that role, it was a part-time role, and the person is a black student or BME. So that really helps me. They gave me all the necessary support that is needed because they've been in the system for quite a while, so they understand how to run the campaign and stuff. So I listened to their advices and I did my individual campaign following all those guidelines, and it really surfaced and it was positive for me. But running the campaign wasn't easy because you have to campaign to a lot of people, people that, because you just came into the system, so you don't know most of the things, and you have to talk in a way that people need to understand. So I wasn't 100% confident I was going to get the role, but I kept giving all my best for the 1 week campaign. And when the result came in, it was positive. Yeah.
All right. Now, Emmanuel, what was your biggest challenge during your campaign?
My biggest challenge during my campaign, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was, there was that much of a challenge. I think the biggest challenge a person can have is yourself, because it's very easy to doubt yourself in that scenario. It's very easy to feel like you'd probably not be accepted, especially when you haven't tried. So having that motivation and sticking by your guns was really important. Like Sharif earlier said, coming into a quite strange environment and all of the questions that be buzzing in your head, and then campaigning to a diverse range of people across different races is quite important to be able to get it right, to be able to communicate properly. But these things don't come just overnight, or you have to do a lot of research, speak to people, try to get the information that you need. So I would say, because I attaining my position did come in different stages, like similar to Sharif's experience. I was initially, I got involved in the Nigerian Society, and then I got involved in the African Council. Then became elected as vice president for communities in the union, which is more of a voluntary role, not a full sabbatical officer role. So that that groundwork, that background, that foundation I'd laid helped me to be able to understand the system, understand the environment, plus the advice I got one or two places. But it's believing in yourself that you can do it, or at least you're trying, is what's important.
Very well. Aram, did your race or background pose a challenge to you at any point in your campaign?
I wouldn't say so. No, I wouldn't say so. I think for me it was more about the message, and like I said earlier, I had another black person already in the student union, and even within that election, you had quite a number of us from black and ethnic minority communities running in that election. So in terms of diversity, you had quite a high number of candidates, from ethnic minority backgrounds. So it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was much of a challenge, no. what I would say was having that message, what message I was putting across, and like both Sheriff and Emmanuel have said earlier, getting people to understand the message that you're putting across and getting them to understand that, you know, you also deserve to be in that position was the main thing. So I personally don't think that my race was a challenge in that election.
Okay. Did you feel accepted in that space? I don't know if Emmanuel would want to start.
Happy to. I think the feeling of being accepted or not is not actually the main issue, because I think what's important is in institutions or organizations, it's paramount or very important that systems are put in place to enable people. That was the most important thing, because being a sabbatical officer, you're a student, you're a young person, it can be a little bit, regardless of your race, you know, it can be a little bit intimidating to find yourself in a room of, you know, in a meeting with, you know, top officials or top officers within the university, or even people who run, you know, really successful and big businesses. So it's easy for you to even feel like, you know, or doubt yourself in your head when you're trying to make an argument or where you're trying to make a point or put your point across. But it's important that these systems, organizations or whatever, put in place systems that would enable individuals in these roles to not feel less of themselves or feel they're able to speak up. And in that same vein, you can relate that into the race factor as well. I didn't necessarily have that experience, no, because at Robert Gordon there is high encouragement of diversity and inclusion. It's a culture, but it's also important that you, as a Black person, as a person of the BME community, to believe in yourself and be very assertive, you know, when you find yourself in those instances. Because regardless of your race, if you give people an opportunity to believe that they are better than you, or they are higher than you, or you are not good enough, you do stand a very high chance to be disrespected. I feel like maybe I'm struggling to pass my point across, but
Okay. All right. So, I mean, I am very happy with something you just mentioned. And that brings me to my question to Sharif. From your experience, what do you think should be the posture of a Black person who finds him or herself in any top position anywhere, especially in a student setting?
Yeah, I think it's having that confidence and believing in yourself. It, as Black people, some people tend to have that kind of inferiority complex, and that need to be taken away from our thoughts. I think we can all do it if we put our mind on it. And the best behavior is to make sure that in this country there are rules and regulations in the system. Is for you to understand that wherever you are coming from, there are different ways of do's and don'ts there. And here there are different ways why people do, how people do stuff. And you need to get accustomed to that and find that particular way of operating or of behaving. I think people sometimes tend to say, this is how we do it back home, and I still want to continue doing it here. And you might not get any changes, and it might even affect the kind of leadership role or any position that you are. So you need to make sure that you understand the system. And when I say understand the system, does not mean that everything is positive. You need to read a lot, because sometimes the system is designed in a way that may not be favorable to you, regardless of any position that you may have. Even as the president of, let's say, Sheffield Hallam University or Student Union, I face my own challenges even as the president. It is how the system has been built. It's an institution issues, and you need to understand and find a particular way to navigate through all those challenges. And the only way you can do that is for you to read further and accept a particular way of behaving in this area.
All right. Thank you very much, Sharif. And Aram.
Yes,
So, I
Captain.
mean, we've spoken about the motivation to want to be in that position, the confidence, as Emmanuel and Sharif have already mentioned. Can you also tell us what different set of skill or, yes, adding to the general posture anybody would have to put up to be able to be successful at their job as student leaders, especially belonging to the BME community?
I think the willingness to learn is also very, very key because, if you've not done it before, so definitely you need to humble yourself and glean from the experience of others.
Mm. So, I mean, since this protest, Black Lives Matter, began, we've all, I don't know about you guys, but some of us have been actively involved, and we are drumming home the need for people to accept the fact that our lives also do matter. But like I said earlier, we are looking at the positives. Is it all that bad from where you people stand? Is it all that bad because people have the perception that, oh, you're not going to get it. It's not going to happen. I mean, a Black person going for this position, forget it. But you guys have done it. From where you stand, do you think that we just have this perception in our minds, and that is what has kept us backwards? Or do you think that it is really not easy getting in there? Aram?
I think it's a combination of both. First of all, you need to have that confidence and believe that you can do it if you're going to go for it. And then also, there is no doubt that the system is biased to some extent. I have seen it as well, where you had one Black person and one white person going for the elections, and they both had equal chances of winning the election. And when you look at their campaign stories, you can clearly see from the Black person's experience that he had thought that he was in a position, was in a comfortable lead, but it didn't happen that way. And what else could you attribute it to than to the fact that there was a skin color difference? Because very often it's just a few section of students that will engage with the students' union and would know the kind of person that you are before you actually run for the elections. But with the majority of students, is that 1 or 2 weeks where you have to campaign that you can put your message across and you can get people to believe in what you're selling and then also vote for you. I think that's what makes the difference, like how you approach people, what you put out there, and how people can believe in what you're selling and actually vote for you. I really don't think that Black people should just say that I can't do it, or the system is racist, so I shouldn't run for it. Until you've run for it, you wouldn't know. So don't just sit and wait.
All right. That brings us to the final lap of this interview, and I mean, almost taking our last words. Sharif, based on what Aram has just said, what would you like for students to know, prospective students who are yet to come into the system, those who are already in the system who really feel like they are choked and there's no point of opportunity for them to be up there?
I think there's so much opportunity here, and we can all attest to that. But as other conversation we've had is around how the system has been built, and the system need uh, to be revisited and to make sure that it is inclusive to everyone. The system needs to welcome people from all over the world, which I believe that the UK system is far, far away from that. Anyone who wants to come still have the opportunity to come um, to the system, and just make sure that you are well educated or well informed about what you want to do. Ask questions. That's one good thing. People are willing to help because it's one good way that I also used when I came. If you ask question, anything you want to do at all, don't just say that, oh, I don't think I can do this. Speak to someone and hear what people will say. If you're really determined to do it, then take a step. And I believe that there will be so much support out there for you. Because if you don't start, then you won't know wherever you are going. So you definitely just need to start. And no one should ever think that they can do this or they cannot come down. If they want to come here, this is a good opportunity. Give it a try, and you will never regret it.
Oh, thank you very much, Sharif. Emmanuel, your last words, and I want you to build it on what Sharif just said, that the UK system is not very much welcoming. We will save that for another day. But from your experience, do you think it is worth the trouble to even want to break into that system?
Do you, sorry, just for clarity, do you mean as a student coming from,
Yes,
you know?
yes, yes, exactly. I mean, from the perspective as a student leader.
As a student leader, I think my opinion on this is maybe slightly a bit different. I personally think the system is very open. It's all about, you know, the ball is in the court of whoever is trying to make the decision. It's this different societies or communities or countries or whatever you want to call it have their system of operation. It's what would fit in, what will apply to person A may not apply to person B. If you're in that moment where you're thinking, I want to make a decision, I want to, you know, go away from home, study elsewhere, or go look for better opportunities, it's important that as an individual, you do your research by yourself. Look for what suits you, look for what suits what you're looking for, and then go for that. Don't just follow the crowd or just do things blindly and then get into the system and start to blame yourself. But also, the final...
To catch you, Emmanuel, but we are very pressed for time. But Sharif wants to respond to something you say. Sharif, very quickly, please.
What I meant by the system is not welcoming is that international students are being used as cash cow, and it is obvious because when they come into the system and they have only four months to stay to look for a job and stuff, and they have to go back. If you compare it to other countries, it is widely different. So when I say there's much conversation with respect to immigration policy and stuff, so UK system is not the best in terms of that, but the system is open for anyone to come, bring your money, and there's nothing else. Even the job is not there.
All
so
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Finally, Manuel, just wrap up on your point, please.
I was just going to chip in a word for maybe a person who is thinking of, you know, being in a position like that I am in, or Aram is in, or, you know, Sheriff is in, is, you know, don't lose your motivation. I will personally try to say to anyone that you need to have a reason why you want to do it. Leadership is not for everybody. And the second thing is, you're not that's one misconception that a lot of people have. You're not expected to know it all. You're not expected to have all of the skills that you need, you know, to excel in that role. All of us that have found ourselves here have had to also start from scratch and learn, but it's just having at least something that motivates you to do it. It might be an individual, it might be your experience as a student, whatever it is, hold that motivation and know that you can get there and, you know, go beyond that as well.
All right, thank you very much. Let me give Aram 50 seconds to make your last point, please.
I think my last point would be very similar to Emmanuel's, that like, don't let anything stop you. Once it's okay to you, then, you know, you should definitely give further thought to it, and you should follow through till the end, you know, until you've run for it and like you didn't win. And if even you didn't win, that is not the end, you know, because even running means you're putting yourself out there, and you don't know who has taken note of you at that point in time when you were running your campaign. So if you've had that thought of it, just like carry on, motivate yourself, believe that you can do it, and definitely you see the results.
Thank you very much, guys. It's been very insightful talking to you guys. I myself have learned a lot today, and I'm sure this is also going to be a great motivation to people out there, prospective students who are looking forward to studying in the UK and who before now were scared based on the stories that they were hearing following this Black Lives Matter protest. But I think this is a new dimension to the whole thing that is also sending some hope across to people to make them feel that they can also do it if you guys were able to do it. Thank you very much for your time. It's been great talking to you, and we look forward to talking to you sometime again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, so that was it, guys. Great experiences there, a great debate, which we will save for another day. But of course, this is also to let you know that indeed all is not lost. The struggles are real, but also there are positive stories out there that you can learn from and be an important person in this seeming hostile environment. Thank you so much for watching Black Arena. See you same time next week. Stay safe.